All right, number 3, we have a system of 3 equations, and we're going to solve this 2 ways. We're going to solve it by hand, and then we're going to solve it by calculator to verify. This one will be probably pretty lengthy, considering the steps it takes to solve. So we're going to just start. I'm going to write these 3 equations down, and then we'll start solving. So what we first have to do is get it to a system of 2 equations with 2 unknowns. This one is missing the z value, and then the second equation is missing x, and the last equation has all 3 terms. Okay, so we're going to start by just eliminating one variable. And it doesn't matter which one, we'll just look and see which one is easier. So we can use this first equation and get rid of x, which this one, we wouldn't want to do it with this one. This one, because it doesn't have x. We just use it with this one, get rid of x, and then we would use these 2 equations and solve for either y or z. Will eliminate another one, or we could use this one. Now I'm picking these 2 because x is y, and I'm sorry, there's one x and there's one y. These will be easy to manipulate, so we'll just do that. Since this equation is already in terms of y and z, okay, I will not need to change it at all. Okay, so I'm calling this equation 1, this one is equation 2, and this one is equation 3. Equation 2, we're going to leave it. It already has y and z. I'm going to use this first equation to eliminate x in this equation. So I'm going to rewrite this equation, negative 3x minus 7y plus 6z is equal to 24. And if I want to eliminate x, I have to multiply this equation so that the x value is the same number but opposite sign. So right now x is positive. It's a 1. I need to multiply it by 3 so that it's a positive 3 and it will cancel out. So I'm multiplying everything here by 3. 3x. 3 times 2y gives me a positive 6y. We don't have a z value at all. And then we also have to multiply 3 times 9, so that equals negative 27. Then we add these 2 equations up, and it's going to be my new equation 3. Okay, so when I combine these, x will cancel out. We will end up with negative y plus 6z is equal to negative 3. So this is my new equation 3. Now we're going to use equation 2 and 3. And see, I'm looking at the y value. They're already opposite and the same sign. So I'm going to write my new equation, or my original equation 2 here, which is y minus 3z equals negative 7. And we're going to add these 2 up, and the y is going to cancel out. Y's are being opposite, they will cancel out. Combine the z's, and we get positive 3z equals, this is negative 10. And then dividing by 3, we get that z is equal to negative 10 over 3. And we'll leave it in fraction form. Once we have z, we will go back and plug it in to one of our original equations. Namely, we'll say 2, because once I plug it here, I'll be able to figure out y. So I'm going to plug in this z value to my equation 2, which is y minus 3z. So instead of 3z, I'm going to put in negative 10 over 3. It's equal to negative 7. And then when we do the math here, we end up with y plus, because the negative times the negative is a positive, 3 divided by 3 will go away, and we'll end up with 10 equals 7. And then we subtract 10, and we end up with y equals 7. So subtract 10, we get y equals 7. Now we have a y value, we have a z value up here. We just need to find x. And so what we're going to do to figure out x, we can do one of two things. We can just plug in the y to equation 1 and we can figure out x. Or we can plug in both y and z to equation 3. I think it's going to be less work. It's always easier to work smarter, not harder. So we're going to plug in the 7 to this first equation. So we're going to do x plus 2 times 7. So we're going to do x plus 2 times 7, and that's equal to negative 9. And then x plus 14 equals negative 9. And subtract 14, and we get x equals negative 23. So we have an x, y, and a z value. Now, as a decimal, this is going to be negative 3.333 repeating. Now, I'm showing you that because we're going to plug it in the calculator. And when you do this, you have to make sure from your original problem everything is lined up. When I say lined up, your three equations going left to right. The x's are in the first column. Y's are all lined up vertically in the middle. The z's are all lined up. Your equal signs are all lined up, and then your numbers. So if anything is out of place, then you have to move things around to get them all lined up. But here they are. When we do this in the calculator, our answer is going to look something like this. It's going to have a box. There'll be a 1, 0, 0, and then our number here. There'll be a 0, 1, 0, and then a 0, 0, 1. So what this does is, since x was in the first column, okay, it's matching up. We have a 1 here, so this 1 represents 1x is equal to whatever this term is. Now we should see negative 23 because that's what we got by hand. And then in the middle column we had the y variable. So if I put y here, this is telling me y, 1y is equal to this number. So we should see 7. And then the last column was z. Z was in the third column. 1 here is telling me that's the z value. And you should see negative 3.333 repeating, which is the same thing as negative 10 over 3. So we're going to punch it in the calculator just to verify and check. It also will kind of notify us if we made a mistake, because there's a lot to do here, easy to make a mistake. So I'm going to get the calculator, turn it on, clear out, and I'm going to go to second, and then this x to the negative 1 button is where you get the matrix. And then you get this pop up. Now I have one in here that I've edited before, but I'm going to go over twice to edit. You have to start there. We're going to go to all three of these. We're going to do math, we're going to do names, but we start at edit, and then we go in. Now the first number is the number of equations. This works with 2, 3, 4. You can have any number of equations. So we had 1, 2, 3. That's why we have a 3 here. And then the next number is how many terms do you have? So how many things are we dealing with? So we have x, y, z, and we have a number. So there's 4 things. Even though some equations are missing terms, you know, the most terms we have are 4. So you always list that. Okay, so I hit enter. Now we're going to list the coefficients. So only the term, the numbers in front of these terms. So there's 1 here, so I'm going to put a 1 for the first term, a 2 for the second term. Now this next term is missing the z value, so we're going to put a 0. We have to put something there, so put 0. And then my last number is negative 9. Make sure you do negative at the bottom, not the minus on the side. It won't work correctly. All right, then on the next row, we have a 0 for my x. So I don't have any x, so I'll put a 0. And then a 1 for y. And I'm hitting enter after I insert each one. And then a negative 3 because that minus is going to act as a negative. And then my last number is negative 7. All right, in the last row, we have negative 2. We have negative 7, positive 6, and then 24. Now, once we get everything in, you can just double check, make sure you got it all in there correctly, because that is a big issue too. Make sure you don't miss any keystrokes. Once you verify everything is correct, we're going to do second quit, and then we're going to go back. Second matrix. So this x negative 1 button again. And then this time we're going to go to the middle. We're going to go to math. And we're going to arrow up because we're going to get there faster to RREF. It stands for Reduced Row Echelon Form. That is the calculator's way of saying we're going to solve this matrix. So once you get that in there, you got to do second matrix one more time, and then we're going to hit enter on A, and then you hit enter one more time, and then it will solve it. Okay, so I have made some error somewhere because the numbers that they're showing me are different. We got -25, 8, and 5. Okay, so they got -25, 8, and 5. So let's go back. Let me see if I can find out where the mistake occurred, and I'm going to check everything, but I'm going to trust this. So, x plus 2y equals -9, and then I have y minus 3z equals -7, and then, okay, yeah, I wrote the wrong thing here. I wrote a 3, and I should have wrote a 2. So that's where I made the mistake. And then when I multiplied these, I should have multiplied by 2. So I have to be careful. Like I said, there's a lot of things going on, and it's easy to make a mistake, and I just wrote the wrong number down. Okay, so if we had done that correctly, then ours would have matched up, but I made that mistake. So that's why I always use this to check, and then another way of checking is getting all those answers and plugging them in. So for now, we're going to use 25, 8, and 5. We get one solution, one set of ordered pairs. We get -25, -25, we get 8, and 5.